Welcome to today's episode of College Financial Prep's Preparing for College podcast. Very excited today. Have my good friend Hollis Hardiman with us. And we're going to be discussing not a topic that we discuss so often, but we're going to be talking about divorce, transitions. Sometimes life happens, and this is just one of those things that happens. I'm divorced, and I'm sure many people that are too. Welcome, Hollis.
Hi, Vicki. Nice. Thank you for having me. I'm so happy to see you again. It's been a little bit of a little while. I think last time I saw you, you might have been doing a workshop for me.
Do me a favor. Tell everyone a little bit about yourself.
My name is Hollis Hardiman. I'm a financial advisor with Merit Financial, and I really specialize in helping mostly women as they navigate through the divorce process. And a lot of that comes with the beginning stages when they're just trying to understand their finances, to during the divorce and asset splits, and then post-divorce dealing with budgeting, alimony, how long will child support last, and really getting their ducks in a row for their financial future, which of course includes college prep.
I don't know if many people know this. What led me to open College Financial Prep was that I was a certified divorce coach, and I was helping people with their personal finances just to make decisions and move forward in the best way possible. And then people started to say to me, well, how am I going to be able to afford to send my child to college? And,
Right.
and that's what led me to develop College Financial Prep. Because of that, even today, I help all parents save money on college, but I'm known for divorce, specializing in divorce and college planning. But saving money isn't all about college. It's about making important financial decisions for your future. So that's why I thought it was a great idea to have Hollis come on and talk with us today, because there are lots of different clients that I deal with, and it doesn't matter if right now I'm just going to talk about families that the parents are splitting up, whether they're separated or divorced. And some people get along great, and it's all about the children and what's in the best interest of the children. And especially with college, it can be a win-win for both. But other parents are it's contentious and they need help. Hollis,
I
help.
agree. Well, I think it's an interesting topic because I firmly believe in helping your children, but I really do think that children should have some skin in the game when they go to college. And so when it comes to planning and financially planning for it, I think the parents really, again, talking about divorce makes it a little bit more complicated, but need to have the same philosophy as to how much do they want their kids to participate in the cost, whether it's financially or whether it's through scholarships, right? And them having to prove themselves through work and sports. But really, how much do you want to how much do you want to pay for your child's education, and how much do you want them to be responsible for some of the education? And I don't know when you work with parents if that comes up at all, or if the parents just think they should pay for it.
It comes up a lot because student loans for the students will only cover so much. A lot of times it is up to the parents, and the question is how much money is saved up when, if they're going through a divorce now. Should they be saving money for college in a 529? Can they be saving money?
Right.
If they've already been divorced for years, what if they haven't saved up? How much are they willing to take out in loans, and is that going to impact their future retirement? These other, where should they choose to live? How much can they afford?
Now I think it's who's the primary, where the child lives primarily, right? Because that could.
No, I think you're talking about the FAFSA simplification.
What's the new?
So, for people who don't know, the FAFSA Simplification Act is going into effect for this year's seniors who are graduating in June 2024, and also for anybody that's already in college and going to be, applying again for next school year. For families who are separated or divorced, it used to be that the custodial parent would be the one who was responsible to complete the FAFSA forms. That's no longer the case. It's now the parent who provides the most financial support for the child who's going to complete the FAFSA. It could still be the custodial parent, but it may be the non-custodial parent provides more financial support. So,
having
that,
I was going to say that's something that people might want to start preparing for a little bit, right? Or figuring out how to finagle that process a little
Yes. Yes.
forward.
I am all over it.
Oh, I'm sure you are. I'm sure you are. I know a lot of people don't really understand it. And, it's kind of, and I didn't fully understand it either. So thank you for explaining it to me. But, I think it's all about, being creative and how families as a whole can try to, save as much money possible for that time when the kids are ready to go.
So
And again, go ahead.
say somebody comes to you, they have children that are in high school or approaching that age, thinking about college, but they're also, they just got separated, they don't know what to do. How do you help them?
Well, like I said, I think we start back with the goals of the family and try to understand, what is this going to look like, and how can we structure it so that you're not taking from your own retirement. And that's what I see happen more often than not. Parents are using their own funds and their own retirement funds and spending those down just to put their kids through college. And that's where I would really like to be able to help people, prepare so that they don't need to do that. And again, it's all about preparation, right? And starting this process hopefully earlier than just coming to me and saying, next year we have a senior, what are we going to do? But it's one of those items that people don't really want to worry about until the time comes at the same time. So I'm really big on trying to plan and prepare and making sure that you do the little things. I think one thing that I love, which I think Fidelity has, is a card. I think it might be a credit card or a debit card where it'll take the extra change or round the dollar up and start saving into like a 529 or some type of an account for the kids. So I really like creative ways to start saving so that you don't feel it as much in your pocket now.
Oh, that's
Um,
nice. I like that idea.
you,
So
you know, there's
I was going to say, just so everybody knows, and Hollis, tell me if you think differently. But
yeah,
I always think of Hollis as the person to go to. I mean, in addition to the divorce situation, but you're looking to save money and put away money, and creatively find where you can divert money from to put it into savings. And I help people save money on the cost of college. So I don't help with the 529 plans. I help
right.
reduce the college costs. Hollis helps with the savings.
Correct. And there's a lot of different unique and creative ideas out there that I think people need to really research and understand. But again, I think the key is really to be proactive about it. If you're a self-employed person, you can even pay your children, if they're under 18 and have that be tax deductible. Talk to a CPA. Don't trust what I'm saying right now, but given the idea is you can start putting away for your children, and as a self-employed person actually have that benefit you as well. So there's different ways that I think, depending on each couple's situation, to really put different plans in place to hopefully not feel the savings as, because everyone's just trying to get by, right? You're paying for so many things and you're like, you're trying to save for yourself. And then you're like, I have to put away for college too. So how can we do that in a way that doesn't feel so painful?
So are you helping both parents, or are you working just with the individual parent?
So it depends. Obviously, it depends when I'm involved in the situation. So if I'm involved in the situation and they're in the middle of a divorce, like a couple that I think we've both worked with, I'm saying to them, okay, here we are. Please reach out to Vicky because she's going to be able to help you know what you already have and what some of your options are. So in that case, I was helping them both. Sometimes I might just have the wife and I'm helping her through her financial planning process and post divorce, and it's really about what does the divorce decree say she's even responsible for. And so it's making sure that even throughout the divorce process we're saving or putting away based on what the divorce agreement says that they may need to participate in as far as financially. So it really depends. I'm all about helping the family. So even if the couple's already divorced, if they can still communicate and I can have a conversation with both of them and we can say, how do we save the most amount of money for the family? That's really my goal.
Yeah,
So
no, it's fabulous when that happens. I mean, I have that also. There are clients that I'm working with now, and sometimes it almost makes you wonder, like, why did they split up? Like, I am always extremely cognizant about not sharing one another's, personal financial
right,
information and whatnot. And this particular, in this particular situation or dynamic, like, they're totally fine. Everybody knows everything. And it's great because it's all about the child, and they're focusing on the child. And I mean, yes, finances come into play, but they're all working together
right, right.
harmoniously.
Right. And sometimes that's even easier after the parents have been divorced for a couple years, right? And all the contentious, stuff has passed. And hopefully maybe in that case, they're back on to really focusing on the children. But it's certainly not an easy task. And I really hope something does change in the college world eventually with how expensive they are, because it's really hard. I like to tell my clients they can help pay for their child's loan later. If there's a loan and they need to start paying it back, it's like, let your child take out the most they can, and then maybe you can help them pay off that loan later. But to fork over the money and then have it be gone and have no option in case you need it, I never like that option as much.
Yeah, I mean, just so you know, as far as the student federal loans go, I mean, freshmen can only take out $5,500 for the year.
Right. Right.
I mean, if a child wants to go to an $80,000 school, it's just not possible to say, well, they want to go there, they can take out the loan. It just
Right.
it doesn't work that way.
The,
I
the
mean, yes,
structure
there
the
are
structure
private,
needs to change.
right? There are private student loans, but typically they're still going to have mom or dad as a cosigner.
Right. And in
It,
my opinion, though, better that than have the parents take out the loan in their own name. Personally, I like that option better. But yeah, it's a struggle, especially when you're not, in that high net worth, environment where money's just rolling in and you're just auto depositing into some 529 account. I think you have to become a little bit more creative and use some of those tools that, like, again, rounding change up to the nearest dollar and it goes into accounts, things that you don't feel as hard on your wallet.
so how did you what made you decide to become a CDFA? And I guess even tell everybody what a CDFA is.
Right. CDFA is a Certified Divorce Financial Analyst. And again, I really help couples going through the divorce process, gathering their data, analyzing their data, helping them with the asset division and what makes sense, what is, close to fair, making sure tax consequences are being taken into consideration. And I really did that because my parents got divorced in the 80s and it was like the War of the Roses. It was literally it could have been a movie back then. And I realized how much help at least my mother could have used as a woman, as a stay-at-home mom. And there wasn't the internet, there weren't workshops, there was no way to really get information. And so she was just relying upon maybe her attorney and some friends. And when I, realized what my passion was and what I wanted to do, I was like, I want to be able to help people get through this process as kindly as they can, as efficiently and effectively as they can. And then also help, usually it's the woman who is the stay-at-home mom, get back on her feet, understand the finances that she's now in control of, and feel a little bit more empowered and independent post-divorce. And so I've been running monthly workshops with my colleague Rosemary Ferrante for, 10 years now we do free workshops. We have one coming up next Friday in Westport. And we just do, the beginning, if you're thinking about contemplating divorce, what should you be looking at legally, financially? And then we even have a therapist coming to talk about the emotional ramifications, because it is such an intertwined
Oh,
process.
definitely.
And my goal is really just to educate and inform and help people feel, more empowered at the end than maybe when they began the process.
A lot of I've noticed working with clients, and I'm sure you found the same thing. A lot of times people are just overwhelmed by the finances. So the finances are like causing all of this emotional stress. And
Yes.
and it's so, for me, and working with families, it's so gratifying to be able to help people relieve their financial stress, relieve their emotional stress, and they have the answers they need. They know the path to go, and it's all
Yeah.
good.
And sometimes it's like, when like you can listen to everything somebody tells you, except if like your mom tells you, you don't listen. And a lot of times when people are going through a divorce, they don't hear what their spouse is saying. So when there's money arguments and number arguments, if one of the people aren't as great with numbers and the other spouse is trying to explain it to them, they can't even hear it. So a lot of times I'm there just to like repeat or have another session and say, this is what we just went through. Let's start at the top and work our way down so that you understand this and you're not hearing it from potentially your spouse, because that just causes friction. Well, if you didn't spend this or I spent that, and it starts into this snowball, argument where sometimes you just need to hear it from somebody else. And a lot of times it's really just reiterating their finances to them in a different way so that they can get on the same page. But
So
yes, that's what most of the stress is about. Every woman's afraid of being a bag lady or relying on their child as they get older, and they want to be independent. They just don't know how. And that's what I'm hoping to do for people.
I know way back when, a million years ago, when I got divorced, I never even heard of a CDFA at the time.
Yeah,
And a lot of people probably wonder, well, what do you need that for? They have an attorney.
right.
So you explain like why it's so important?
Well, attorneys know the law. They don't know everything financially. They don't necessarily know what the decision you make today and how that's going to affect you in 10 years. They're looking at what's in front of them. They're looking at potentially splitting things, maybe as even as what they think is as fair, but they may not know all the ramifications of certain different types of accounts that people may have, restricted stocks or private equities. How does that trickle down and what does that mean for each person throughout the next 10 plus years? They're looking at what's in front of them at the moment. And what I do is really say, okay, if you end up with scenario A, this is what you're going to look like from now through the alimony potential child support period. And then post that, what does it look like? Do you need to get a job? Do you need to start working part-time? What do you need to do to get to that positive end game? Attorneys don't do that. And you don't want to make a decision with an attorney without knowing how it affects you financially, unless they can get out the pen and paper and start showing you what it's going to look like. And I just don't think that you're paying them to do that. They know the law, and they're trying to focus on the law, and they're not focusing on the therapy. And that's why you need a therapist, right? There's so much emotional things that go through people at this time. So I think it's just making sure you have the right support team and the right support network to get you through these times. And of course, it does cost money to do that, probably like paying your fee, but hopefully the fees that we collect, we're able to erase in the savings that we have found for our clients. And I think that's really, I'm assuming, both of our goals, right?
Right, right. It's an investment in savings that you'll reap later on.
Exactly. You don't get a second chance at divorce. So I want to make sure you get it right and you've got all eyes that you can possibly have looking on it, including an accountant. There's a lot of people that should be part of your support network.
Oh, definitely. And don't forget speaking with the children's school and everybody.
Oh
You
yeah,
know,
of course.
it takes a team.
It does. It does. So I think that when we surround ourselves with people like each other and, find the right people that can help couples, hopefully we can get this divorce system to be a little bit more friendly.
Right. And a lot of people always say, oh, don't take out that you can take out loans for college, but you can't take out loans for retirement. But really, it's all your money. It's all going to both. I mean, I think the important thing to know is that working with Hollis or working with someone like myself, the goal is always to be able to save money and to protect you as much as possible for going forward. So, we could all
Absolutely.
right. We can all lead a nice retirement at someday.
And you're, once you retire, you're done. It's these working years that matter, and that's usually around the time the kids are going to school. And it's
That
really, I
people are
can't
getting
say,
divorced.
and people getting divorced. It's all happening at once.
Thank you so much for being with me today, Hollis. I really appreciate it.
Thank you, Vicky. It was so good to see you again.
You too. Tell us where we can find you.
H Hardiman, my first letter, first name, last name, H Hardiman at meritfa.com. And or if you're interested in any of the workshops, we have a website, Divorce Resource CT, and that's usually dedicated more towards Connecticut folks. But here, if you need any questions, or happy to help.
Fabulous. Thanks so much. And
Thanks,
thank you,
Vicki.
everyone, for joining us today on College Financial Prep's Preparing for College podcast. See you next time.